Is the audio working? Let's see. Looks like it. Alright, so I tried making this video once already, and the audio didn't work, and I made a second one, and I didn't like it. So hopefully I'll be able to cover what I want to in this post. The main thing is that it's really not much of a post. I wrote it at the time knowing I needed to, start documenting this sort of subject, which is just, the political sort of going-ons. And in 2012, under Obama, obviously there was a lot of almost daily sort of like things happening that, were kind of absurd. And the same people then who didn't care and just wanted to ignore it all and didn't want to listen or pay attention now act like they're the moral authority and act like they're, the social justice warriors of the world or something. But yeah, like the main thing about this post I've just been thinking about, and it's I should probably read it, but it's the 10th post, and 10 is obviously the number of Malkuth, Earth, the fallen, the fallen state of even the ego, the mind, the fall itself, the separation of the one and the zero, the male and female, all that, and this sort of Malkuth is just it's got some problems, and that's why I was kind of hinting at the fact that like politics and government and all this does actually tie into not just the occult and the Kabbalah, but it's all connected. It's all like multifacets of the same beast. And so I was kind of naive and didn't know what I was, learned. Like I didn't know the full situation. I still don't fully know. I don't think anyone knows fully the situation, but at least I was more alarmed kind of at the time with what was going on than I am now. But that's not to say at any given time society can lapse back into chaotic sort of states. But I said the internet will soon be gone. Back up everything you can on DVDs and hard drives, which, see, this was when SOPA and PIPA and FIFA and all the different acronyms were going on. And we still have, things all the time coming up trying to regulate the internet and censor speech and censor files and file sharing and all that. And what's his name? Styx Hexenhammer 666 had a video not too long ago about how files and songs and movies and especially books, PDFs, will be eventually possibly even worth money one day. And he obviously knows the value, and other people, like there's so many old books that need to be gone back to, and it's not always just the new books, and the new information, because half of it's been lost or just forgotten. And so eventually, there's so many books I could think of that need to be republished. Some could be republished just for the fact there's no hardcover version. That's beside the point. But anyway, I said we will need proof as to what the bankers and politicians have done when everything falls apart, to hold them accountable when they kill for their positions. And now, see, a lot of people like to blame politicians, but the more and more I see and learn, the more I see that it's not just the politicians as it is the people themselves, and how they abdicate their responsibility and their power, and they give power to all the wrong people and ignore all the things they could be doing, and then like to point the finger at everything else to have a reason not to, and play the victim. There's too much shit to be said about all that, and there's other people that talk about that, so I don't even want to get into it really, but it will come up. It said soon we will have no defense against what has been coming for decades, and that's like if there was an internet kill switch or I didn't know what to expect under Obama, and I don't think anyone really did, and I don't think very many people even expected. I thought Hillary was probably going to. I mean, I didn't think there was any other way. I didn't think people would vote for Trump, and not that even if, who knows, with his ties to to the Clintons and to everyone else, it may all just be a sort of like facsimile, facade, simulation, or like reality TV show at this point. And I always thought that under Obama that Hollywood and politics are almost indistinguishable now. And so I said, make your final preparations. This may be your only warning, which that's obviously, if you're reading this blog or now watching this video, you have probably had tons of warnings, and now it's to the point. Now that's the problem, is there's so many whistles been blown, so many whistles have been blown, and like so many warnings have been given that no one even bats an eye or thinks anything of it. It's just like, oh, because nothing has happened really. But in a way, yeah, it's the slow incremental slow downfall. The fact that information is forgotten, the cycles repeat. I see it every day. Like people who should be, bettering themselves, either in terms of finances or knowledge or health, end up falling into the same traps of doing things that almost make it impossible to change that sort of trajectory. And I've got that sort of problem too with various things. Any sort of habit can get any habit that gets out of control needs to somehow be recalibrated, realigned. And sometimes it takes going to one extreme to swing back to another. It's just this. That's the problem, is there's too many things are too polarized, be it political or social or health, or to the point where you almost get neither. Freedom, peace, security, safety, health, sanity. This whole thing about Malkuth and the fall and the error, the problem, or whatever you want to call it, it's like a friend of mine said, it's no measure of greatness to be well adjusted to a fucked up society, which in a way that's debatable. Like, yeah, I mean, you want to be somewhat stable in it is a measure of greatness to be somewhat stable, in chaos, but to be to be a part of that sort of thing isn't necessarily, So I could see what she was saying about, how, I don't know, it's just like Crowley, he says that basically money and currency and the ability to make money is, dependent on your connection with society and whether or not you're at odds with society. And so, for occultists or conspiracy types or theorists or whatever you want to call it, because there are so many conspiracies that it's not even just a theory. There are people who like to see everything as a conspiracy, but that's all part of the whole fact that, I mean, everything's a fucking conspiracy, and it's at the same time not. Like, it's hard to discern where and who benefits, but if you think about it, like in the sense of reality itself, Malkuth, the illusion, and all the equations, perspectives, and all that. That's basically just the shells, and um, there is a kernel of truth in those shells, but it's not the shells itself, and so. Anyway, I really forgot what I was going to get into with this whole post. I know that basically I was going to use it as a springboard to talk about Malkuth and, the sort of problem of Malkuth and its sort of resolution, or at least how I've sort of resolved it in my own mind as best as I can. If you think about it, the word Malkuth, it's spelled out, Mem, Aleph, Lamed, Kaf, Vav, Teth, He, is 111. Malkuth is the 10th sphere. 10 times 10 is 100. 111 is, Aleph, the first path. And so it's the first and the last, basically Malkuth being the crystallization. And Aleph is said to be the first and the last, being 0. And Malkuth is kind of where you start out on the tree of life, and you get the Fool Falls, and there's a connection between the above and the below there, and how they overlap. And 111 is obviously the unfoldment of the 3 rays from Kether, and the white light is 111, the Azoth, Om, and so that whole unfoldment or emanation, the word emanate, E-M-A-N-A-T-E, is 111. And so that sort of illustration is kind of just a cognitive thing, but yet it unfolds into this sort of cosmic unfoldment with the whole Kabbalah of 9 chambers. And I really don't know what I was trying to say with that, because I had a better way of tying it in the other video, but there's no audio, and I swear that stuff happens intentionally or something. I don't know why it happens sometimes and sometimes not, but I pulled this up, Liber 58, Crowley's essay or whatever on gematria. He says 100 is the number of Kaf, the perfect illusion, 10 times 10, also Kaf, 20 plus 80, the wheel of fortune. The identity is that of matter, fatality, change, illusion. It seems the Buddhist view of the samsara chakra, or the wheel of samsara. And Kenneth Grant talks about that here. Kaf being basically the hand, but it's also the hand and the phallus, or the vagina, the catius and phallus. He says it's the number of vessels, which again, the broken vessels are the Tlephoth. Reference to the desert symbol for Kaf means the hand, includes the palm, symbolic of the palm tree as well, which is the tree of life. A swathe of 7 stars indicates Ursa Major as the magic trail or way of the Typhonian mysteries, with Set as the 8th star, the counterpart in the south of Typhon in the north, then more blackness. And so the verse, it's hard to read these verses without reading them in context, but a silent ship on a calm sea ensorcelled, a swathe of stars, 7, then 8, then 9, blackness. So it's this unfoldment. 9, the special fire of black magic. However, 9 in the present context may indicate the 9th arch, the threshold of the staircase leading to this secret treasure of the temple, Alchemia, which in one spelling is 100 and in another 56, the number of new. Alchemia is the virgin, and she is balanced by Hecate, one meaning of whose name is 100. Hecate strangles the babels of thought at birth. Alchimia is the still and virgin mind of this subtle alchemy of consciousness, thus identifying herself with the sleep, i.e. unawakened goddess, the fire snake. This verse contains profound mystical implicits which transcend all magical formulae. Nelly, 100 other streams connotes the black fountain of Hecate and the bright fountain of Alchimia. Furthermore, 100 Kaf, the letter of perfect illusion, created by the union of the Catius and the phallus. KP 100 Kaf is the spirit presiding over the back of the head, the zone of the secret chakra, which governs the alchemical system associated with transcendental sexual magic. Note also that 100 is Kukab Kalab, or Caleb, the dog star. And he talks about the secret chakra at the back of the head, the Lambikara, or Lambikagra, I forgot how it's pronounced, chakra, of Lambika Yoga, Lambikagara, I don't know. But, 100 is an interesting number, and obviously from it, the other unfoldment numbers, or the new unfoldment, so to speak, in that cycle of 100 has a lot to it as well. 107 obviously being really important as well. And he talks about Kaf Nia, which is the sort of, Nia is the reverse of Ain. Ain is nothingness, so the reverse of nothingness, which is, it's like all. Kaf being the back of the head, where he said it's like where the data is combined to create, the mind and manifestation. So Kaf Nia is all about this sort of, it's like the back of the head image or images within the sort of subconscious, or, you could even say dreams. It's symbolic kind of other dimensions. And Librael, Kaf Nia is the double wand, and the double wand is obviously the Vajra or Dorje, the lightning bolt, again with the whole 111 thing. 111 is the white light, and bolt, and ray in Greek with rho. So basically there is this sort of like mechanical there's a code in manifestation, and it's not just Grant who found it and Crowley, but and even just the Hebrews, because if you just apply this sort of numerical way of looking at things to all the languages, that's why they kind of all come together, and you can really only see the whole picture by looking at all the strands and strains of and systems. And it kind of ties in like the ancient knowledge with future knowledge. And Kenneth Grant talks about the new knowledge, and that's what I think a lot of this has to do with. Just in the last, since he wrote these books, a whole ton of new knowledge has come up, and it's yet to be fully sorted out. Another thing he said, well, Crowley had put in Sefer Sephiroth in 100, it's the number of Emim, a day, or the seas, the times, and that goes with the whole Wheel of Fortune and Samsara Chakra, the days, the times. And I don't know what to really make of this quite yet. It'll unfold more. And like I said, I didn't want to get into all of these things. It's not like I don't think that there's something to it still. Yeah, I think that some of the programs, black projects and whatnot, seem to be like in remission or in a little quieter lately. Like there's not as many operations going on. and at least not out in the open. So yeah, I don't know. I'll get more into this sort of subject, and this was actually kind of one of the first posts not really getting into, but where I realized I needed to talk about not just politics and all that, but how this stuff that Kenneth Grant talks about, the Typhonian stuff, the just the alien type stuff, and how it connects with the AI, artificial intelligence, and what's basically externalizing now. I have tons of other posts about, the artificial intelligence subject, and it'll take a while to get to this post. Again, like I had to read twice already. And it's not much to read, but I mean, it's more like talking about what's on my mind regarding it. But yeah, this is probably my least favorite post just because of the fact that there's not much to it, and it was just like I don't know. It was like a bookmark for me to remember that certain things that were going on and the sort of state of mind I was in. But anyway, the next post I don't know. I don't know when it'll be or how it will be, but it will be.